Hey everybody, I'm Liam Hennessy from Applehead Studio here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and this is our second crack at YouTube videos. We recently upgraded our gear, the D3S and the D700s, and we switched over to a fleet of D750s. And we did a little review on why we switched and the benefits of the camera and so forth. And we got a lot of comments and questions, so we thought we'd try a second video and address some of the things that, some topics that were brought up, namely what lenses we use, a couple of limitations that people are finding with the camera, and we also thought we'd show some images, some before and after images of that we've created with these cameras and why we shoot the way we do. So one of the questions that we got a lot was lenses and what lenses we use on our cameras. And my first reaction is 35-85. If there were no other lenses, I would have the 35-85. It's what I'm carrying probably 95% of the day, and I'm carrying two bodies right up until probably the reception and the dinner. So I carry the Nikon D750 with the 35mm, and then on the other hand, I've got the D750 with the 85mm, and I carry them with the, I love this thing, the Holdfast Moneymaker strap. It's a camera harness that kind of lets me carry two bodies, one on either side, really easily accessible. We'll put a link below so you can check them out. But that's how I carry these all day long, and things have really gotten a lot lighter since we switched over from the D3S. A couple of other lenses that we'll use, if we're outside with a couple doing something scenic, maybe we want something a little wider, we've got the Nikon 24mm that we use. So this will come out from time to time. This actually doesn't usually have a lens cover, so we're kind of showing off for the video here. Well, there you go. So we also have the 50. Sometimes we'll use this for some portraits or smaller family portraits, something like that. Even on the dance floor, we'll use the 50mm sometimes. This is a great lens. If we're being a little bit more creative with portraiture or a big scene or something like that, we have the 45mm tilt shift, and we'll use this from time to time. It's kind of a fun lens. We do some portraits that we call tilties, so we just kind of play with this lens and just have some fun with it. And then the other one that we have in our bag is the Nikon 7200. This is the workhorse. That doesn't come out very often. We shoot it mainly when we're shooting family portraits, believe it or not. We'll put it on a tripod, go way back, and we've got a system that we use that works. This is a great lens for that situation. So that's really it. If you see me shooting a wedding or an engagement, this is what I'm carrying all the time now. It's got that storytelling 35mm lens, and then the closer kind of a portrait lens, or if I want to get in on a bit more detail, we've got the 85. And that's really pretty much it for lenses. Another question that we got was about autofocus points and the limited space that the autofocus points cover when you're looking through the viewfinder. And I gotta be honest with you, it really wasn't a big issue for me. I mean, I did notice it when I picked up the D750 that, you know, they don't quite travel as far left and right when you're looking through, but I back button focus when I'm composing a shot and taking a shot. And all I'll do, I really center point focus, and I'll just kind of do some focus recompose. It's not as bad when you have a tighter lens because you're not traveling quite as far to recompose. If you've got something like the 24 or the 35, you may have to move it, you know, a couple inches here and there. But with a steady hand and a lot of shooting, it's really just, it's not a big issue for me. So my suggestion on that is just, like I said, a steady hand and some careful focus recomposing. I really love these cameras because we've really settled into them and found a way that that we can really pull the most from the image, the full tonal range, you know, exposing for highlights and bringing back details. So I have both of these cameras set up to spot meter focus, and I'll always expose for highlights, knowing that we can really bring back the detail in Lightroom when we go to post-production. So that being said, I thought we would kind of put our money where our mouth is and show you guys some images that we created with the D750s, exposing for highlights, another one where it's a really flat image, and one where we accidentally switched the camera from RAW to JPEG and shot at 12,800 ISO in JPEG format, pretty much in the dark, and we're still able to rescue this image. So we'll start with the first image here of a bride. This is at the Louvre in Paris, and there was just this beam of light that was coming through. And so we stood the bride in it and literally spot metered off of her dress, which is sort of the brightest part in the picture, and took the shot. Obviously, looking at the back of the LCD, this image is completely black. You don't see any of the stairway or the walls or the bars in the foreground, but we know that we can pull back that detail in Lightroom. So that's an example of where we will really expose for highlights, knowing what we can bring back. So the second image here of the couple in the window, this is also just in a Paris apartment, really flat light, and we were able to climb a spiral staircase and shoot across. And really there's no dramatic light here, there's nothing that's really too high contrast, but this is just a great example of how far you can really take an image in post-production, in particular in Lightroom here, and really focus the attention on the bride and groom and play with the coloring a little bit and the toning of the image. And it's just, there's some really, really impressive files that are coming off of this camera. So the third image here, this was taken in a back alley in Paris, and we were really excited about having the D750s, and we really wanted to sort of test their limits. What we didn't realize was that earlier in the day we had switched mistakenly the file format from RAW to JPEG and hadn't noticed. So we're shooting at dusk in a back alley here. And the ISO is 12,800, and if you look at the bottom in the original image, you can kind of see the bride and groom walking through the alley, and then with a little bit of post-production in Lightroom, you can see that we were still able to really rescue this image, pull back a lot of detail that was in the shadows, and this is on a JPEG shot at 12,800 ISO. So I continue to be more and more impressed by the images that come off of these cameras, and I know I said it in the first video, but I'm a huge fan of these cameras. They've been everything that we expected and more. And so continues our love affair with the Nikon D750s. I really wanted to show you guys some images that we've been making with these cameras because we're really having a good time, and it's fun to see what we can do with the files that are coming off of these things. So while we can't talk about the Nikon D750s in every single video from here on in, we did show some images, and we get asked from time to time about our post-production. So we thought maybe we'd hit on that next time, what we do in Lightroom, and we can show you some befores and afters and how we get to those endpoint images. We also thought we'd hit some topics about manual white balance. We want to blow your mind with some manual white balance issues, and also some off-camera flash. So if you guys have any recommendations or questions, leave them in the comments below. We're having a lot of fun doing this, so hopefully we'll just keep it going. Thanks for watching.